Alright, what is good, guys? This is most likely going to be one of my favorite videos I've ever posted, and as you saw in the title, my story of kind of how I went from just a normal, average kid, literally no different, going to college to dropping out of college and making 5 figures a month with trading and growing my personal brand on social media throughout trading as well. So I'm just going to start it when I was a little jit, because this video is going to be like, I want you guys to be able to relate to me and you guys to realize that this shit is so real and it is so doable, right? So starting from when I was a little jit, we'll start in like middle school. I was that kid that was selling candy bars at the local football games. In high school, I was that kid reselling golf balls, shoveling driveways, mowing lawns. At like a young age, I always kind of had that I love money, like I love hustling. But I obviously had no idea that I wanted to do anything like this because I was so young, right? But I feel like a lot of people that do end up being successful, like, have always kind of had that thing in their brain, like they just got it, like they got it. Like I can look at someone and say, you got it, bro. And even since I was like a little kid, I was always had that like hustler kind of mentality, always doing those little side hustles, whatever. But besides the fact that was nothing big, just little things I was doing when I was a kid. And hopefully, I mean, you guys are probably the same way. You guys probably think the same as me and have the same mindset as me because you're watching this video right now. But kind of after that middle school, early high school stage where I was just hustling for a couple $100 here and there is when I kind of took my first venture into business. And this kind of started in quarantine, right? Because if you guys remember quarantine, COVID, the whole shutdown, I was pretty much just locked in my house. I was locked in my house for an extended period of time and had no idea what to do. And at this point, I was, what age was I? 19 now. 5 years ago, I was around 12. I was 12 years old. Wait, no, bro. Whatever. I was young, and pretty much during quarantine, I was like trying to find a way to make online money. So as most of you guys have probably done as well, I got into drop shipping. You probably saw a Jordan Welch video or someone, Iman Gadzi, saw him on YouTube and was like, bro, I can do this so easily. Let me get into this online money. I'm gonna be breaded, right? I got so much time on my hands. Let me just do this. And that was my first kind of intro to business, in a sense, was drop shipping. So got into drop shipping. I actually tried it because I had nothing else to do for like a couple months. I was in it for 2 months and was just trying new products. Nothing was really working. I got like a few sales at max and pretty much just gave that quits. So this was pretty much going like into my high school, right? Yeah, so this was like my freshman year of high school. And kind of once I got into high school, still had no idea what I was doing, just doing little side hustles still, like reselling golf balls, still no idea what trading was, like no one around me was doing any type of business. It was really just little things here and there. And then my sophomore year of high school is when everything started. Actually, like I made some progress in life. I started making a little bit of money, and that little bit of money was from a power washing business, because essentially I tried drop shipping. I kind of gave up on it. I was like, all right, bro, screw this. Let me do a real business and make some real money doing labor, right? So, because that's like money that you can guarantee. That's money that is guaranteed in your pocket. You just got to get business, right? Sell a service. And that was what I was doing. I was young, still below 18. So I was like, all right, let me do this. And what did I do? I started a drop shipping business. I started a power washing business. It was my sophomore year of high school. It was my sophomore summer. So I was like tons of time on my hands. And in high school, I played baseball. So I was kind of playing baseball and doing this power washing business, but still, this was my first venture of making decent bread and kind of in a real business. And it wasn't a lot of money. It was not a lot of money, but my sophomore year of high school, I made around $5,000 with the power washing business. And at that time, I was like, damn, this is a lot of money. I'm hype, and I want to scale this. Like that was my first real taste of money. And at like a young age, that's like a decent amount of money. I was like, bro, this is awesome, bro. And that kind of got me hooked. And you guys are probably the same way. Like, you have that one lick of success in anything, and you're like, bro, I need this, and that is when you're cooked, and cooked in a good way, because you can't settle for anything less. And that was me. From that point on, when I had my first little bit of bread, I could not settle for anything less. I was like, all right, bro, I'm going to figure out a way to get rich. I don't care what way it is, but I will do it. Even after my first 5K year doing this little business, after that I was like, bet, let me scale this up. So I go back to school. This is now my junior year of high school, and this was my second kind of time doing actual numbers, right? So we go back, it's summer again, summer of my junior year of high school, and I make around $25,000. $25,000 with my second year of the power washing business. I was ecstatic. I was like, all right, bro, how can I scale this? How can I make more money? Because I knew it was easier to make money once you got money. So I thought I was on absolute easy mode from this way on. I was like, bet, bro. And this was my junior year of high school, junior summer. I saved up $25K with the power washing business, grinding every single day. I was like, all right, bro, what's next? What is next? I have a little bit of money saved up, and that was the goal. I was like, I just need to get myself off the ground. I need to get myself off the ground, and enough for me to get the ball rolling. But I knew I essentially didn't want to power wash my entire life. That is slavery, and that is not something I did not want to do, because those jobs sucked. I'm an average Caucasian. I'm not trying to do just labor work my entire life. I'm trying to get into online money, get the bread, online money. That's what I wanted. So I got myself up off the ground with power washing. Was always hustling as a young jit. Boom, came into high school, started my first labor business, power washing, saved up $25,000. Awesome. What is next? I'm not going to power wash my entire life. What is next? What was next for me was real estate. I had $25K saved up, and I was scrolling Reels, scrolling TikTok, and this was my junior year, so going into my senior year and making college decisions. And obviously at this point, I had nothing sustainable. I had nothing that I could tell myself, I'm gonna make a lot of money from this the rest of my life. So obviously I enrolled in college. I went to Michigan State University. I didn't have crazy grades in high school. I got a 3.5 GPA. Not crazy, not the worst, but decent high school grades. I got into Michigan State, really easy to get in. And I'm from Michigan, so this is kind of like my hometown college. I knew tons of people that were going here, and pretty much was just like, okay, I don't have anything sustainable, so let me enroll into college. This was my junior year. I got accepted, and going into my senior year, I was like, all right, let me run up power washing kind of one last time. And yeah, so I was going to Michigan State for my freshman year of college, and my senior year of high school ended. And I was like, okay, I'm going to college. I have 25 grand saved up, but I don't want to do this, bro. I need to get into something else. I needed to get into an online money skill. And I was, like I said, I was scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on Instagram, and I saw Section 8 Kareem. I don't know if you guys are tapped in at all to real estate, but I saw Section 8 Kareem, and I think it might have been Tom Cruise. I mean, while I'm in here in Miami right now, I've literally seen him in his Rolls Royce. Kind of a crazy full circle moment. But I was seeing these guys on real estate, post about real estate and Section 8, and all I heard them say was, you can get into Section 8 with $10,000 or like $25,000. So me sitting here, not knowing what the next step in my life is, essentially just looking to get off the ground and actually get into a business model that I could do long term. I saw this opportunity. I was like, oh my gosh, I can get into real estate with only $10,000. And obviously I would have to buy a course as well. So I would have put like $5K into a course on how to get into Section 8, and then obviously just trying to scale with real estate. But I then realized I need much more money to do that. It's kind of hard to get into real estate with such little capital. Like 25K was not really enough. And still going into college, nothing, still lost, still do not know what I wanted to do. I thought about real estate, and I was like, bro, I just need a little bit more money, and I want to get into Section 8. It seemed so fire, and I knew one kid in my high school. I knew one kid in my high school that day traded. I like overheard him in classes. I was like, bro, he was like telling me, he's like, bro, like I trade like ICT concepts, this and futures, like blah 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 blah. I just never really thought much about it. I was like, oh, cool, bro, cool. I don't really care. Like I got my power washing. I'm gonna get into Section 8. Like I'm a beast, yo. And then end up, and this is the story on how I got into trading. So I'm like, bro, if I can get $10,000 more, if I can get $35,000, I can 100% get into Section 8. So what do I do? I go to the one kid in my high school that I knew traded, and I go, bro, can you trade with my money? I'll give you $5,000. You flip it into $10,000, and I can get into real estate. What do you think, bro? And obviously he was like, no, I am not doing that for you. I'm not going to trade with your money and flip it for you, but I will show you the ropes on how to get into trading. So I was like, all right, bro, fine. Like I did not want to do this, bro. I wanted to get into real estate because I thought this was what was going to bring me out of the matrix. No, I'm kidding, but I was like, all right, bro, if I can learn trading, just make $10,000 really quick, then boom, then I'll get into real estate. So he kind of showed me the ropes. He told me about ICT, TJR's bootcamp, and this was summer of 2024. So TJR's bootcamp was kind of been around for like maybe a year, and it was still like relatively new. And I'm not gonna lie, bro, trading has gotten so mainstream over the past year. It has been insane. But regardless, he showed me TJR's bootcamp, ICT, and I was like, all right, bro, let me just watch a few videos. And if you guys remember day one of TJR's bootcamp, that had me motivated, bro. I remember this exact day, July 10th, 2024. I was driving to a Tigers game with my family, and I remember watching the entire TJR day one bootcamp video. I was like, bro, that was the most motivated I've ever been. I was like, bro, I kind of like this. This is dope, and I genuinely thought I could make so much money within a month, bro. So I was like, all right. Sorry, one of my lights died, but essentially I was like watching TJR's bootcamp day one. I was like, all right, bro, let me just give this a shot. And you guys know TJR, he's entertaining and he keeps you hooked, and he kept me hooked. And I was like, all right, I'll thug it out. I'll watch this. And I remember that drive to the Tigers game. I was like, bro, this could be something. I was telling my parents, I was like, hey, I might get into this trading thing because I just need a little bit more money to get into Section 8. And kind of from there on, I just continued watching the boot camp, and this was right before I was going to college. So my senior summer before going to college was just grinding TJR's boot camp, and this was generally the most like nostalgic time. Like looking back on it, generally I like the most bro, like prime Fortnite nostalgia. Sitting in my bedroom at home, watching TJR's boot camp, paper trading, catching banger trades, thinking I was going to be rich within months. Generally, I don't think there's a feeling that can top that. There's no better thing that can top that, and I thought I was going to be rich just like that. But regardless, going into my first year of college, still learning trading, watching TJR's boot camp, still wanting to just make money to get into real estate, and I kept thugging it out, and then I got into college, and I was like, all right, bro, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this whole real estate thing, but I am hooked on trading. Hooked, and I want to thug this out. So pretty much, like I said, I watched my first ever boot camp video, first ever learning what a candlestick was, July of 2024. Now flash forward to November, December. This is when I bought my first funded account. I've been kind of paper trading for around 3 months, and then I bought my first funded account. And you guys probably know how that goes. I actually passed my first ever funded account. I passed it, and then I blew it within the same exact week. And this is pretty much when I decided to invest in myself and get a mentor. I decided to get a mentor. Shout out Cole Trades. But I got a mentor, and I was like, all right, bro, let me just figure this out. And while I was learning trading, while I was figuring all this out in college, this led me to let my grades slip, because I am one of those people that I don't like doing things that do not that like do not benefit me, bro. And in my eyes, I was like, all right, bro, learn a high income skill, trading, or go to my stupid college class. And in my head, I was like, bro, do I really want to do this college? Like, do I really want to go to class, do this my entire life, and get a degree? No, I really don't. So I decided to just put all my focus in to learning trading. I was on the charts all day long, continuously watching YouTube videos, continuously learning, which led me to my grades slip. Newsflash, I got a 1.5 GPA. I got a 1.5 GPA in college. So pretty much at this point, right, let me just rewind, kind of go back a minute. So going into college, had 25K saved up, was thinking, bet, I just need that next step to venture in. Well, like, what's gonna be my next move? I thought it was gonna be real estate. I asked a kid in my high school, bro, can you put me on? He said, no, but I'll teach you. I watched TJR's bootcamp, I got hooked. I thought trading was it. I got myself a mentor, and essentially from there, I put all my focus into trading. And my grade slipped. And keep in mind, this was probably the lowest point of my life because, like I said, I had 25K saved up, and this was pretty much like my first introduction to trading, which also introduced me to crypto. Oh my gosh. So I got introduced to crypto as well. I thought, because I kind of heard TJR's story, I was like, all right, TJR made his first 6 figures with crypto. I can do the same thing. And this was the time, November, December, where crypto was absolutely on a generational run. Every single day was up 30%. So I was like, all right, bro, this is easy money. Let me hop on this train. I get into crypto and I buy the top of the market. I put $15,000 into crypto. I put $15,000 into crypto and I buy the top of the market. The tippity top. December, I put 15K into crypto, altcoins. You guys know the hype that was there, and I bought in and pretty much destroyed every single bag I had. So 15K into crypto. Now at this point, I'm still learning trading. I got a mentor and I'm still spending like a little bit of money on firms, but not a lot because I'm just a beginner. I'm just buying like singular 50K accounts at a time. So I was not spending a lot on trading because I was mainly stressed at my literal top blast crypto bags that I have only seen red. So at this point, I'm like, all right, I'm still gonna learn trading. Like, this crypto thing is really getting to me. It really had me stressed because, right, I had a 1.5 GPA in college, and pretty much all I'm seeing right now is red. I'm losing in trading. I'm losing in crypto. I'm like, all right, bro, I don't have another choice. And keep in mind, this is while I'm living in a quad in my college dorm. Generally the worst environment I could ever ask for. Like, it was college food. I was getting fat. It was freezing in Michigan, freezing cold. Environment was god awful. I didn't go out. I was just focused on myself, and I was doing anything possible to make this shit work, to make trading work. And throughout my first semester of college, September all the way to the spring, I only lost money, and this was by far the most stressful time of my entire life. Why? Because I had no other plan. I had to make trading work. Why? Because I had a 1.5 GPA in college. I had to make trading work, and all I'm seeing is losses. I have lost almost 5 figures in eval expenses at this point. I have lost 15K in crypto, and so I'll tell you why I lost 15K in eval expenses. Because 6 months into trading, it was like literally middle of the winter, I got my first 2 payouts. On my funded futures accounts, and it was like, bet, bro, I am profitable, I am him. And I grew an ego, and essentially that just led me to copy trading 5 accounts every single time, blowing them, and I lost a lot of money. Like I said, almost $10,000 in eval expenses, activation fees, all of that, like blowing XFAs, 15K crypto loss. So at this point, it is spring, and I have to sell my crypto, right? Because obviously, crypto is gonna go up, but I literally had to sell at the lowest point price was, because I could not afford, because I literally needed money to afford more evals. And if I kept holding crypto, I would essentially like have the chance of it going to zero, and I would have no money to even buy evals anymore. So crypto was at a pretty much all-time, like I almost sold to like almost a full loss. I lost $15,000 in crypto, and I had to sell to be able to still buy evals. And this was going into the summer of 2025 this year, and pretty much I was almost dead broke, just had enough to continue buying evals. And at this point, I thought I would never go back to power washing again, but I was literally forced to start power washing again. Why? Because I had no money, and my ego was deflated to the ground, and pretty much I was brought down to literal ground zero once again, right? I never thought I would be back down to ground zero, but I was. 25K saved up, went into college, started learning trading, got into crypto, lost everything, and got a 1.5 GPA in the process. So essentially I had to go all in on trading and social media. And at this point, throughout pretty much winter and throughout the spring, I was posting on social media, posting skits, and I was kind of getting traction on trading social media. So this was kind of the start of my like whole social media trading thing. I didn't even start to try to make money or like start to build a good following on social media. I generally just started to keep myself accountable, to document my process, because my psychology was so bad. It was generally so bad, I started posting to keep myself accountable. And that's why I started social media. And then it just kind of caught on. I had a few skits that did well, and they caught on. I was like, bet bro, I'm going to keep doing this. But regardless, we're going into summer 2025, and I had to start power washing again because I had no money. And this was at a point where I was like, all right bro, you're not going back to college, because I made the decision it would be dumb to go back to college. 1.5 GPA, and bro, I had to go all in. I had to go all in, and pretty much the turning point for me was, okay bro, you either have to lock in with your trading, cut out all of these psychology slip-ups, cut out all these stupid mistakes, these little mistakes that keep holding you back, cut everything out, and you essentially, it's either you do that or you literally stay broke and have to, I don't even know what I would have done. I don't even know. But really, it was just a matter of literally keeping myself from going out of debt with power washing, because I was just rinsing money on evals, I was still power washing to just bad. My lighting went out again, but essentially I was just power washing, doing this. Like, I did not want to do this, bro. I did not want to power wash because I thought I would never have to do this again, and I was literally forced to do it again because I literally went broke with crypto and trading. So I was essentially just making money to be able to afford evals, and literally fully back up against the wall because I had pretty much no backup plan, no school, and the craziest part about the entire thing is, since I had to sign my lease for my apartment even before I knew I was gonna drop out of school, I had to do that way beforehand. So I had a lease signed of an apartment that I knew I was going to live in, and I literally could not pay the bills for it. I remember this date vividly. It was June 18th, and I had, I think, $400 in my bank, and come July, August, the start of August, I had like 1.5K in expenses coming up every single month. And I'm sitting here in June, this past summer, with like $400 in my bank, like sitting there with myself, like, how is this even possible? Like, is this even possible to pull off? Like, am I even gonna make this work? Am I an idiot? Like, why can I not make this work? I've been trading for almost a year now. What is wrong with me? So really was just still power washing, still losing, and I was kind of in that point with my trading where I was a pretty good trader. I would always be on XFAs. I would never really be stuck on evals. I would be trading decent, but it was just the impatience, and just like I would stay on accounts, build the balance up slowly, and then just boom, crash out day, wiped it all. So like, I was not a bad trader, just like the little things that were holding me back, and this was getting at me so much. And I literally remember this. I was like sitting in my room, and this is most definitely the most stressed I've ever been in my life. It was like coming to the end of June. I had pretty much no money, like 1.5K in expenses coming up that I could not afford. And I was like, and I literally remember this. I was sitting in my bed after like I blew accounts. I was like, all right, bro, it's like I genuinely wanted, like, I knew I was never gonna quit, but like this day, I remember it was such a sick feeling in my stomach. It was such a sick feeling in my stomach. I like I said, I blew accounts this day, and I was like you guys probably know this. You do some dumb stuff on the charts, and you just feel like you want to do nothing the rest of the day. And this was me. Awful day, blew accounts, and was just sick to my stomach. I was genuinely so scared for my life. I was like, can I actually pay this off? Like, I mean, can I actually pull this off? And I was genuinely so scared, so scared. I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And like, there was no aha moment in my trading. There was no, oh, this is the turning point in my trading. It got to a point where I was so down bad, and I pretty much told myself, all right, bro, you have two options. Either you keep going down this path, you keep losing money, you keep doing the same things over and over again that you know do not make you any money in the markets, or you generally decide to make a change in your life and generally make the change that you know you already need to do, but you do not have the discipline and mental capabilities to do it. Why? Because you're so stressed about everything outside of trading. And I genuinely feel like the biggest factor why I was failing so much at trading was because of the fact that I was just not in the right mental headspace. So at this point, right, it's like coming to the end of summer, like June, July, I have my bills coming up that I cannot pay. And this was really the point where it's like, all right, bro, you don't have any more room to fuck up. You have no more room to keep blowing accounts. And at this point, there was really just, I just needed to, boom, cut the shit, bro. Cut the shit. You can't do this anymore. And I guess for me, it just, my back had to be up against the wall where I had no other room to succeed. Because if I did not start making money in the markets, and I did not start actually sticking to my system and actually staying patient and doing all these things I knew I needed to be doing, I don't know where I would be right now. I do not know where I would be right now, because I probably could not even afford rent, given be on a 2-week vacation. Hold up, let me get a better view. Given be in a 2-week vacation in Miami right now. So, right, like it really got to a point for me where it's like, all right, bro, enough is enough. You need to change. And that was really what it got for me. I generally had to lose everything. After being so up, like boom, up 25K, looking into a new niche, trading, and then boom, hits the fan, lose everything, 15K crypto loss, the rest spent on prop firms, just crashing out, blowing accounts, bad psychology. I generally think I had the worst psychology. Like, I don't know how I recovered. I had the worst psychology, and I was like, bro, and it got to a point where I literally had to lose everything. And if you're watching this, it does not have to get that. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. It does not have to get to that point for you. It does not have to get to that point, but for me, that is essentially what it took for me to realize that, oh my gosh, I have lost all my money, and if I keep doing this, I will be in debt and cannot even live. So like I had to lose everything to get that through my mind. And again, it does not have to happen to you, and I guarantee it doesn't have to happen to anyone, but some people, including myself, really had to feel the pain of literally losing everything, because there's no real going lower. Like, I hit the bottom, I pretty much went broke, and then had to just rebuild my confidence. And I only rebuilt my confidence because I knew I had a system in place, and all I had to do was stick to it. And then once I started sticking to it for a long period of time, boom, that is when you build confidence in the markets, and that is what allowed me to build confidence and start making money consistently every single month in, month out. So that is like really genuinely the most stressful point in my life. I don't think I've ever been more stressed, because I could have I'm very fortunate. I have a family that they do well, like we're not like poverty. Like, I could have gone to college, like I could have just gone 4 years, everything paid for, have my life handed to me perfectly, have no issues, no stress, live a normal college kid life, like have the time in my life at college. But I was like, no, bro, like this is not me, this is not for me. And I guarantee all you guys watching this, you feel the same exact way, and you feel like you need to do more. Like you're better than that. You're better than, like, you might have an ego and you just think you need to strive for more. And that was me, bro. That was me, and I just took that leap of joy. And on top of it, social media, like I said, I've literally, since almost a year now, it's almost been a year since I started posting on social media, I've been posting every single day. TikTok, Instagram, and I'm starting to get really consistent with YouTube, as you guys see on here. But social media, it's the same thing as everything else. It's the same thing in trading. You show up every single day, you learn, and you get better. I'm not here to sell like anything, trading or social media, but it goes for every aspect of life, right? I continued showing up every single day, posting when I was getting no views, but I still did it, and I'm not a massive celebrity, but I'm enough known where you're watching this video right now and listening to my story. So, right, it's like the same thing. You generally have to focus, and you have to want it so bad, so bad, that you just have to make it work no matter what. And for me, I could have had the easy life, go to college, get a degree, do this, but I was like, that life is not for me. I could not sit there with myself and generally be okay with my life. I would be miserable, and pretty much I just had to make a change no matter what. And I didn't know what that change was going to look like, and I ended up getting into the trading space. Kind of crazy enough, when I wanted to get into the real estate space, I got into the trading space, social media, and I am now here. But it is definitely an interesting story. I feel like it's not your typical story. But yeah, like ever since I was a young jit, I was always wanting money. I was always ambitious, and then pretty much made my first little money power washing business. Going into college, wanted to kind of get into real estate, and with this power washing money, boom, introduced to trading, and then pretty much lost everything in trading in crypto. Decided to drop out of college, 1.5 GPA, and pretty much was broke, and then it got to a point where I lost everything, where I was like, all right, a change needs to be made, and I made a change, and I have been doing very, very well and gotten really consistent with it. So that is pretty much my story. Not your typical just you get rich overnight, because that is not real, bro. That is AI. It is fake. You getting rich overnight is not real, bro. It's a crypto rug pull. Like, that's it. Like, you generally have to just lose, prevail, learn, and then that is when you get it, bro. You get nothing overnight. You get generally nothing overnight. And if there's any advice, because most likely you're a trader if you watch this, my best advice is through and through, right? You just have to realize it will be a process, and you need to fall in love with the process. Do not fall in love with the money. Do not fall in love with the idea of hitting take profit, the idea of getting payouts. The second you get in love with the idea of what you could be doing, of the payouts you could get, that automatically flips your mind to, all right, I need to start doing more on the charts. I need to start doing this. Overthinking, overdoing, and in trading, you need to be underdoing, and overthinking absolutely kills your trading. So my advice, if you're kind of wanting on the same path, don't really want to do the average route, the college, this. You want to make a name for yourself. You want to get into trading, and you want to make this fire online money life. Please just do not ever quit, bro, because I got to a point where I wanted to quit, and thank God I did not. But like, do not fall in love with the money. You need to fall in love with the process, fall in love of learning, and generally you need to enjoy learning every single day. You take a loss, do not look at it like my life is over. No, you need to learn. And then second thing, you need to stick to the same model. One thing that I did that I feel like separated myself from a lot of other people and maybe gave me success a little bit earlier than some people was I stuck to the same model my entire trading journey. Like the first few months I was just kind of watching YouTube videos, but like I said, I got a mentor and I stuck to that one model the entirety of the time, and I just got really good at trading that model. And you need to do that as well. If you continually bounce models, learn new things here, there, you will never get genuinely good at something. And in order to be really good at a skill at a high level like this, because trading is a very high entry level skill, you need to be able to master one thing and get really good at one thing. So 1, don't ever quit, bro. 2, Fall in love with the process. Do not fall in love with the money. Do not fall in love with the idea of getting rich, because that will force you to start doing dumb things. Number 3, stick to the same model through and through. I don't care how many TikToks you see, how many TikTok slideshows you see of a bottom and top tick. Stick to the same thing, bro. And 4, the biggest thing that did help me was having a secondary source of income, right? Like I said, I was power washing to have money coming in, so I was not literally fully on like my deathbed and expenses going in debt. So please get an income coming in, and it's kind of like surreal, because I used to like pretty much like social media. I used to post these TikToks just like as a documenting my journey, documenting my process. I would look up to all of these people, all of these crazy like social media, like you guys probably know Bonka, and I was like looking up to him. And then last night I was chilling with him all night long. We went out and he came back to the apartment. Like, it's crazy, bro. It's generally crazy how fast your life can change if you really wanted to. Like, I'm no different than you. I feel like I've said this before, but I'm just an average kid, bro. I'm just an average kid, no different, and I just really wanted to make this shit work. And I'm making something work. Making something out of myself, simply because I'm more disciplined and more driven than the average person. I knew I was not able to accept an average life. That's not me. I'm not average. I'm a fucking baller. And I didn't know what I was going to venture into. I wanted real estate, got into trading, but regardless, whatever, like, even if you're not going into trading, whatever niche, bro, just never quit and just work your ass off, and it will come, bro. I promise you, it will come. And I'm not sitting here saying I've made $1 million yet. I'm not like at crazy level, but still, bro, like I have done, and these past 6 months, my life has drastically changed, and I just want to come on here, tell you guys my story, because you guys are probably no different than me, bro. I was in high school doing average things. I was planning on going to college, not even going, I was planning on just going 4 years, not even dropping out, and then boom, within 1 year, my life has fully turned around, fully changed for the better. And I just want to show you guys that it literally only took me 1 year. It took me 1 year, bro. 1 year to change my entire life, and it's so doable. You just need to approach every single day saying, get 1% better, focus, learn, and just it's a grind. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's easy, because it was definitely the hardest thing I've done in my entire life. Because you have to be disciplined and focused on a different level for such an extended period of time. Like, this shit's not easy. It's not easy, whatever. However, but the reward and the feeling you get after achieving a thing you set out for the longest time is, oh my gosh, the best feeling in the world. So please, guys, you can do this. I know I had the same goals as you. I guarantee it. I had the same aspirations as you, and there's no reason why you can't get it and I can, right? I look at this at like a insane scale, because literally this week when I'm in here in Miami, I've had 2 lunches with Lambo Raul, and this dude's making, I don't even, like, a retarded amount of money, like an insane amount of money, and I'm sitting here like, okay, he's no different than me. Like, it goes for everyone, right? Like, I can look up at, boom, this crazy person, and I'm thinking, he's no different than me. I can do that. You might be looking up at me saying, I want to be in your position. I'm no different than you. It's a constant loop. You will generally never be satisfied. That's kind of just how it goes, bro. Like, you will never be satisfied, but still, there's no reason why you cannot do this and you cannot change your life. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this story. Pretty much my whole business venture, kind of how I started everything, how I got into trading, kind of my ups and downs. But yeah, definitely wanted to get this video out because I don't know, it's just a story I've always wanted to share, because like I said, it's not an average journey. I would say I feel like I definitely went through a lot of hardships that like not a lot of people did, which I know people have it way worse than me, but like still, I had 25k saved up, literally went dead broke, rebuilt myself, and I had to overcome a lot of things. I had rent coming up, 1.5k in expenses that I literally could not afford. boom, just flipped like that, started making money in the markets. So definitely not an average story, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully you guys can take inspiration from this, and this should tell you that you got this. Like, no matter who you are, no matter your background, no matter your circumstances, there's no reason why you can't get it, bro. There's no reason why you cannot get it. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And in the description, TikTok, Instagram, I post on all these socials. I teach for free in my Discord. I teach for free in my Discord. That's in the description. And if you guys trade with Alpha Futures, if you want accounts with Alpha, code Jack will get you discounted. That is in the description as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and of course, hit the subscribe button. See you guys in the next one. Peace.